You know when you're just down really bad and then someone comes along and they're like, that's what my leasing office did today. My leasing office chose violence.
My apartment increased my rent by 10%, you guys. 10%. Oh my God, 10%. Can you believe that?
There's a moving truck. There's a moving pod. There's a moving truck.
Rent is going up at a pace we've never ever seen before. Is it going up because taxes are going up? Is it going up because of inflation? It's going up because they can get it. Where are you gonna go? You don't have any choice. Think about it. You've been in your rental for $2,000 a month, and now the landlord wants to raise it to $3,500. Oh, I'm not gonna pay that because for $3,500, I can go buy a house. Good luck. Based on the interest rate, based on your down payment, you're not able to save. All that savings, you've been paying it in additional rent. Interest rates are up. You don't have more down payment. You're not making more money. You are at the mercy of the landlord. Go ahead, Sam. Move. Go right ahead. You go right ahead, because when you move, not only can I get $3,500, I can get $4,000. So you go right ahead, Sam. I'll see you later. Is this your 60-day notice? Yes, this is my 60-day notice. Okay, great. Day 30, you realize the reality of your situation. You can't buy a house. Hey, Mr. Landlord, I'm gonna stay. Oh, okay, it's $4,000, Sam. Well, no. It was $3,500. No, you put in your termination. Your lease terminates. You've got to do a new lease. It's $4,000. You are at the mercy of the landlord. Do not mistake that.
This is a perfect example of probably how a lot of Americans or people in the world really feel. It's like you are at the mercy of landlords. It doesn't matter how you try to go about it. They dictate the price, and you have to willingly almost pay it up. The person, she gave an example of $2,000 to $3,500, $1,500 increase. And you're like, oh, screw that. $3,500 can go into buying a house. But you can't even afford a down payment because you have been spending all this extra money towards rent. And now you're just like, oh, well, interest rates are high. I can't find any good houses. The prices are too high. So you're like, okay, I'm going to have to go back to renting. And then that's where the landlords will screw you over again because you have already, terminated your lease. And they're like, oh, well, it's no longer $3,500, it's $4,000. So they continue to manipulate how much things cost. And unfortunately, we're the ones that have to stick the price. And it just makes it so unrealistic where it's like you can't rent and you can't buy a house. And you're just stuck forever just in this position where you're not able to get out. And you can't live a dream where you want to own a home, you live your life. But landlords really have a grasp on your income. And there's just nowhere to go. You try to look for cheaper places, but it's not always doable, especially with how the market is right now.
So I just saw someone talking about how much rent has increased in the past few years. Let me tell you something absolutely ridiculous. So we have lived in the same apartment for 9 years now. When we moved in 9 years ago, our rent was $550 a month. Now, in 2024, after yearly increases every single year, we pay $1,200 a month. $1,200. And guess how many updates we've gotten in this apartment? I'll wait. None. Same carpets, same appliances, same cabinets, same everything. Now the new apartments, well, the up and coming renting ones, those get upgrades. Those get all new flooring, paint, cabinets, carpet, everything. But they won't do anything for us unless we move out. But they would let us move into a renovated apartment, but we have to pay like $200 to do that. Plus move all our stuff. Like, I don't understand. Make it make sense.
These landlords and these, people who are renting out properties, they won't do anything for you. You are taught that, they'll take care of all the appliances. They'll do all of this for you. You don't have to worry about costs for repairs. But they won't even update your location. And especially if you've been a dedicated tenant for 9 years and you started at $550 and it jumped up to $1,200, that's more than 100% increase. That is ridiculous. Even when it first was cheap, it is now to the point where it's no longer cheap. It's barely affordable And this is where we're having issues where no matter where you are, no matter how long you are, they are going to continue to increase the rent higher than probably the inflation rate, which is very unfortunate because our average, income that we receive only goes up by 3% every year when we get a raise on average. But rent is about 4 to even more than that. So not only are you slowly losing money, you can't even afford to really, again, move out anywhere.
I'm trying to enjoy my last days within this unit that I've been renting for so long. Really sad that I have to leave because they decided to raise my rent $700, and I already pay $2,300 without parking fees, which is $185, and plus utilities. So I'm paying $2,600 a month, and they still decided to raise my rent for another $700. So they want me to pay now $3,000 base rent. Are you kidding me?
$2,300 is crazy, especially if she's living alone. I don't know her living situation, but to raise it $700 a month from $2,300 to $3,000, and she just said that's base pay. That doesn't include parking, probably trash, all that fun stuff. That is ridiculous. Again, this is more than 3% inflation on rent. That's just landlords and corporations saying, inflation in general, let me slap $700 on this person. That is ridiculous. They're making more profit and they're making us struggle even more. This is just sad because renting is getting out of control and people need to bring it up more and more. I know that they have brought it up and they're like, well, you can't buy a house, just rent. It's more affordable. No, it is not. Again, you're paying pretty much a mortgage and probably some to rent these places. You're not getting anything out of it. You're at the mercy again of the landlord.
My apartment increased my rent by 10%, you guys. 10%. Oh my God, 10%. Can you believe that? Anyways, I really want to stay in this building, and you guys know I decided I'm not leaving Miami anymore, so we try to negotiate 6%, and they said they'll do the 6% increase. Better than nothing, you guys, but I had no idea that they would even try to raise it. Like, I thought it would be like a 3% increase. 10%? It's not even like COVID times. This is 2025. I don't know if this is normal in the US, you guys. I'm renting an apartment. Is this normal? Is this normal in the US? Is it?
You just have to laugh it off. Let's be honest. It's ridiculous. Again, 10% is crazy. Luckily for her, she was able to reduce it to 6%, but like she's right. Shouldn't it only be about 3%? Because inflation is about 3%. You're eating away more of your income to stay in these places. I don't know what to even say at this point anymore. And, maybe that's something that we should all try to do is negotiate these hikes to lower it down, especially if you've been a tenant for a few years. Find a way to lower that monthly because you're not going to be able to find anything better because if this property does it, everything around it starts to do the same thing. Every price goes up and you can't move out. You can't do anything. And then this is where the situation of where people have to move in back with your parents, family members, roommates, and not always the most convenient. I understand that it's maybe a good way to save money, but again, you're just going to fall into the same trap once you have to leave that environment or once you want to. It's just sad.
There's a moving truck. There's a moving pod. There's a moving truck.
So this is just a quick clip and it just gives a good example of what people had to go through. It's like the complex raised the price $300 to $500 per unit. Let's just say there's 100 units. 100 times 300 is what? $30,000 that these complexes are making additionally every single month. Sorry if I did the math wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say. People can't afford those kind of hikes. I know my parents currently live in an apartment and, they struggle with these $100 hikes. It may not sound like anything crazy, but it's not like they have the best jobs in the world and, they're just like an average American. People just struggling to get by. And this is just another just sad sight. the best solution you can do is move out. But then the question is, where are you moving out to? And it's probably going to be, again, in a situation where you don't want to be in. If people are just leaving left and right, and they're trying to find places where it's cheaper, whether it's living out of the city, living further away from work, moving out of state, going to places that are, less populated. Who knows? Wyoming could explode one of these days because no one lives out there, and then one day everybody wants to go there because it's probably cheaper. I can't quote, obviously, but that's just an idea of how people are trying to get away from these ungodly and expensive apartments and renting situations.
I am upset, okay? So I got home, got my mail, got my rent increase notice, going up to $2,500. A single dad with 3 kids, $2,500. What are you going to do with this money? You've done nothing in 10 years. The bathroom heater still doesn't work. I asked multiple times for better insulation in the walls because the electric bill's insane. There's still a tree waiting to fall and kill us all. Nothing has been done to this house in 10 years. And I can't paint the walls. I can't do any of the regular maintenance because that violates the lease. But you're not doing it. My original goal when I moved into this house 10 years ago at $1,495, that's now going to be $2,500, was to buy my own house and get out from under this landlord crap. Instead, I've paid the enormity of somebody else's mortgage. I paid that, and they've done nothing. All that they did was have the down payment and the credit rating. That's all they did. They signed the papers. I moved into the house immediately. They've done nothing. I can't keep doing this alone. And apparently I can't seem to find the right thing to do it with someone. What is the answer? Should we just start robbing banks at random to pay landlords? This is stupid.
Let's cut it off right there. That is truly the way a lot of us feel. You're trying to rent so that you can save money and get your own home. And yet you're having to rent out a home that somebody purchased, so you're just paying for their mortgage. And I feel for you because I can't stand the idea. Here in New Zealand, that is very common. There's not really any apartment complexes. You rent out homes. You rent out buildings that people have bought, whether it's corporations or individuals. And it's just sickening because it's like you're getting them further ahead. They're taking all the homes away, so it's not affordable anymore. And now you're paying for their mortgage, and you can't get out of that system. And I feel bad for this guy because he said that he's a father of 3 children. And he originally rented, like most people probably have the idea of, to save money to buy a house for a down payment, do all the things necessary to buy a house. But he can't do that because they raised the renting price up to $2,500. It is just sad to see that this is common, and yet people are still encouraging to rent. It's like, why are we being encouraged to rent if we're suffering just as much if we were to buy a house? In this case, we all need to just live together because no one can afford anything anymore.
You know when you're just down really bad and then someone comes along and they're like, that's what my leasing office did today. My leasing office chose violence. I just got my lease renewal for next year. I live in Seaport in Boston, which is probably one of the nicest areas in Boston. I understand that. I live in a high rise. Yes, it's a luxury building, but it doesn't justify what they're asking for, in my opinion. I moved in 2021. It was $2,600. Still asinine. Ridiculous to pay that much amount of money for this tiny ass little studio apartment. 450 square feet. Okay. Next year that I met all my friends, they're all in the same building. I'm like, okay, $2,900. That's what they raised it to. I was like, I can do this. I'm going to start dog sitting. So that's what I did. And I did it. I paid for it. Was I pretty house poor? Yeah. But I was meeting a ton of people and I was having the time of my life. I've had the time of my life in this building. The next year rolls around, $3,100. I'm like, I feel like a massive moron if I pay this, but my friends are here. I'm going to keep doing it. Really, really stupid decision to do that. Anyways, they just brought me my new lease. They want $3,444 a month for my 450 square foot studio. I did a quick little girl math on this one, and that means that I would basically be paying to stay in a $120 a night hotel every single night for the next year. I love Boston, but it's not New York. Like, this is insane. I just got done crying to my parents all week about how lost I am. I don't know what to do with my life. I know exactly what I want in life, but I'm having a really hard time like figuring out how to get there. I don't know if I need to stay in Boston, move. I just can't do it anymore. I don't know what my next move is.
Boston obviously is not a cheap place to live. I mean, if you're familiar with big cities like that, Chicago, Boston, New York City, LA, all that, of course it's going to be expensive. But she says it doesn't justify for a studio apartment to go to $3,400. Raising it up to $3,400 is just criminal. Honestly, what are we doing allowing these landlords to just dictate how much we have to pay? It goes back to that previous video, that clip of how, we are at the mercy of these landlords, and we are emotionally attached to some of these places. Like in her situation, she has friends, she's, has her life there, she's enjoying it, she's doing everything she can so that she continues to enjoy her life. But it's at the point where it's like, you got a chokehold, you can't enjoy life anymore, you have to move back with your parents, you have to move away, you got to change your lifestyle. It's unfortunate. It's just a studio. It's not even anything, like not even a proper 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It's just a studio, so everything's connected. I don't know. Let me know, guys, what you really think about renting. What are your stories? Personally, I understand that frustration where, you're a good tenant, you pay on time, you do everything necessary, but yet they don't want to work with you. They just want to torture you.